Hey, speak for yourself, listeners. Before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com. Now, let's start the show.
Welcome to Speak for Yourself, Marcellus Wiley.
Look good.
Happy holidays.
Look good.
Boy, I look like that gift under the tree right now. Just want to tear this
Here's
up.
the problem, bro. I'm that gift that they open first. They gonna get to yours.
They gonna get to mine?
But they gotta open this one first.
Can't lie, big dog. You're killing them too. Well, let's get it started in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers lost 3 straight, and a lot of talk is centered around dancing. Yep, I said dancing. The Bills said they were fired up when JuJu Smith-Schuster danced on their logo pregame and went on to win. After the loss, JuJu said, quote, "I'm not going to stop being myself." Last week, he did it again on the Bengals logo, and they lost again. Well, it appears JuJu is changing his tune moving forward. Take a listen. Yeah.
For the betterment of, myself and my teammates, I'm going to stop, dancing on the logos.
JuJu, I guess just to follow it up, will you just do it somewhere else on the field before the game?
Honestly, I don't want to be, a distraction to anybody, my team or, the other team. Like I said, it's just the betterment of, if it's getting to the point where you guys are asking my teammates and coaches, there's no point. And ideally, I'll probably just do everything in-house.
Acho. Is it the right move for JuJu to stop? Yeah, on everybody's logo.
JuJu, blink twice if you need some help. JuJu, for the betterment of the team, it's just best that I will stop dancing. I will not dance from here on out because I think it is in my best interest not to dance forever. Come on, JuJu. I'm reading right between them lines. No, it's not the right move for JuJu to stop dancing. Because what does JuJu's dancing have to do with anything? Marcellus, one of the smartest things you've ever said, and I'm going to big up you on this show because it's the holiday season.
I love you.
So this show, I'm going to do my best not to tear you down, but I'm going to do my best to build you up, big dog. I'm going to do my best. Marcellus Wiley said this, one of the most genius things I've ever heard. No one cares what you're doing until you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Don't nobody care.
Give a damn.
I didn't even realize JuJu was chick-tocking and Corvette. I didn't even realize he was doing all that.
Yeah.
Until they started losing.
Ooh.
He was doing that while they were 11-0.
Say it.
He had been dancing on logos all season long. I see you, JuJu. Swag on them boys. Yeah. But no one cares what you're doing till you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. JuJu's dancing got nothing to do with Big Ben's decline.
Don't do that.
JuJu's dancing style, it ain't got nothing to do with Deontay Johnson's drop passes or Eric Ebron's drop passes. JuJu's dancing ain't even got nothing to do with JuJu's play. But it's now become an issue because these L's are starting to stack up like they play in Tetris. Now, let me talk about the real issues that we should be talking about, the problems. I've created a list of the problems that the Steelers should be focusing on as opposed to JuJu's dancing. How about this? Number 1, Big Ben's arm. Number 2, drop passes. Number 3, defensive injuries. Number 4, there's no running game. And number 5, the O-line struggles. If you start to go all the way down to a number 125, then you get to JuJu's dancing. But still, how are we making an issue out this dude dancing for TikTok before the game is not an issue, bro? We shouldn't have to stop.
I love you. Love that take. Freeze it. However, on the other side of that take is my response, which is it is the right move. Right move for JuJu to stop dancing.
Why?
Now we're addressing the wrong thing in JuJu dancing because even Mike Tomlin went on record 2 weeks ago and said, "I'm not seeking comfort or looking for excuses based on our recent performances on things that occur in pregame or things of that nature that are social media related." Translation, give a damn what he does before the game. Give a damn what anybody does before the game. Between the whites for 60 minutes is what matters most. We both agree to that.
Yep.
However, You got to earn the right to mess it up. You got to earn the right to be a distraction in any situation. And JuJu Smith-Schuster has not earned that right. JuJu Smith-Schuster needs to focus in on his game. He needs to single out how we know JuJu Smith-Schuster as a baller and baller only. Not a gamer and all these hashtags and gamer tags and PlayStation 5 things. Not as a dancer, as a wide receiver. Remember the conversation. Let's start from the beginning. JuJu Smith, are you a number 1 or number 2? Oh, you look like a number 1 with AB. Is AB better than you? I don't know. JuJu look good. All right, you may not be as good as AB, but you're right there. Oh, AB is a distraction. Who earned the right to be a distraction? You got to go. JuJu Smith, your turn to be a number 1. Excuse me, why does Pro Football Focus right now rank JuJu Smith-Schuster as number 76 as a wide receiver? Oh, you thought that was bad? How about the fact that JuJu Smith-Schuster ranks 121st in the NFL yards per reception? 121. The point is, when you're ranked 121 in anything, don't be number 1 on that field in pregame dancing no logo. So JuJu Smith has found out an age-old issue that everyone has, that if you're going to get all of this attention, you have to be deserving of that attention. Hasn't earned it, and now he's in this position where he's going to get criticism.
Okay, I'm with that, but I'm going to go left to end up going back right. Rock with me here. You'll have a better analogy than myself because you've lived a little bit longer, but rock with me here, Sel. You know, if say you're in a relationship, okay, my experience is my expertise.
I'm there.
You're in a relationship, and the person you're in a relationship with late to dinner 2-3 times in a row, you're irritated and aggravated about that. Stop being late to dinner. But you don't say anything about that. You don't.
Don't sit on it.
So what happens? You don't say anything about that, so all of a sudden, they leave your house lights on or they leave your air conditioning running, and now you snap. Why the heck you leave my house lights on? You know I got to pay bills here. Now you snap, but you weren't even really mad about the house lights. You weren't mad about the air conditioning. You were mad that they had been late to dinner 3 times over the last month. That's what's going on in Pittsburgh.
I'm listening.
They're not mad at JuJu dancing. They're not. What are they mad at? They're mad at the fact that JuJu's sorry right now compared to who he should be. Like, they're mad at the fact that JuJu ranked 76 on Pro Football Focus. They're mad at the fact that, JuJu, you went for 1,400 yards 2 years ago in one season. Not over the course of like 5 seasons. You went for 1,400 yards in your sophomore season. Sophomore season, by the way, is the year that you're supposed to slump. Sophomore slump, that's where that comes from. And you balled. But now, in what would be your senior season, the year you really should be maturing, 4th year to some contract year, depending on if you're a first-round pick, etc. And now, JuJu, all you got is 670 yards? Your last 2 years combined don't even match your total from your sophomore year. So what this really is Mike Tomlin is kicking back like, oh, I'm not going to call JuJu out for being sorry. Again, sorry in context. Sorry compared to what he should be. I'm not going to call him out for being sorry. So instead, what am I finna call him out for? Instead, Steelers fans, what are we going to call him out for? I'm mad at you for dancing. The issue ain't really the dancing, Sel, and that's why I have a problem with it, is because they're addressing something that's not actually the issue.
Well, they're addressing something. They're addressing a symptom of losing instead of the illness of what's causing this losing, as you just said. So,
wait, give me that again. Give me that one on my head. That one on my head. Give me that again.
They're addressing a symptom of losing, not the illness that's causing the same losing.
Okay.
The symptoms of losing could be anything. What time did you get here? 2 minutes before the meeting. Well, 5 minutes early, or else you're late. What the hell did that come from? Oh, I forgot we lost our last 3 games. That's why coach is tripping. When we 5-0, coach ain't 2 minutes early. What you here so early for? Same dude, same time. I give it to you like this, JuJu Smith-Schuster, who I like as a person.
Dope. Cool as that.
Dude, love the dude. LA Cat, respect. However, you kind of sorry. You kind of sorry by your own standard.
By your own standards, yeah.
And you're kind of sorry about everybody else's standard if we're going to talk about expectations. You went from having 13.7 yards of reception in your career to now 8.2, as I just mentioned before. There are 5 running backs in the league averaging more yards per reception than you. Do they get paid to catch the football exclusively? No, they do not. Here's JuJu's issue. I went through the same thing. Day 1, when I got drafted, got that check. It was nice. It was more than I ever seen in my life. My whole family seen it in our life together. It was a big check. And I'm looking at this check. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tickle my fancy. I'm going to do everything I wanted to do. First thing I did, Ran and got me some DJ equipment. Guitar Center, here I come. They looking at me, sweatsuits, 19 gold chains on. One of them said NFL on it. They saw a fool coming. And I went up there and bought the whole DJ floor. I get it all. I got it set up in Buffalo. I'm good. DJ. Marcel White's the next Bruce Smith. DJ. Marcel White's the next Bruce Smith. I was doing this, climbing up to the point where they released Bruce Smith for me. And then I balled that year. All that good. Went to San Diego still. Marcel White climbing up. Marcel's DJ. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, this is really high up here. Let me come down a little bit. Let me go down the mountain a little bit. You know, the sack production started going down. You know what I first start hearing in that moment of decline? I don't know if he's focused. He might be distracted. Too much of this DJ, those parties. I used to DJ for the owners. I used to DJ for the entire NFL, the Super Bowl parties. Not a problem in the world when you got the double-digit sacks. As soon as I start getting 6 sacks, 3 sacks, no sacks. Oh. Who is DJing? That's the point. You have to earn your way. You have to earn your opportunities. You have to earn the opportunity to be a distraction. JuJu Smith hasn't done that.
Now, let me push back for the first time all show, and we're 10 minutes in, so that's a record for me. Because of all the people who actually I would assume are on the other side, you should be, because you hate doing things for optics. I know that. Yes. You've mentioned this before in talking about Drew Brees. You're like, wait, Drew Brees don't believe none of this stuff, but he's up here on a podium saying, oh, I stand for this, and I stand for that, and I stand for this. But you're like, wait a second, Drew Brees. Were you only saying this to appease the people?
Yep.
That's the exact same thing that's happening here. Because realistically speaking, like, okay, so Steelers players, y'all will not do anything that the media now makes an issue? Because the media made JuJu dancing an issue.
Yep.
Like, JuJu had been dancing, so all of a sudden, what, we gonna get mad at Joe Hayden for wearing Jordan cleats? Are we gonna get mad at Mike Tomlin for wearing glasses? Oh, that's a distraction now? Like, this actually isn't anything. The media has made it something, so I'm just surprised that you, who typically don't stand on this side of the fence, are standing on this side of the fence.
I'm going to tell you why I'm over there, because I lived through that example as well, more as a member of the media. FYI, we're the media. You can't say the media made this. We made this a problem too, talking about it, damn it. It's on us. It's the optics. You said, I don't like doing things just for optics. I want it to have substance. I want it to have substance, not just for sizzle. But in a PC world, decorum matters. In a world that is going to look at things from a distance and judge, perception is reality. Okay. You want some optics with some substance? Let me give it to you. JuJu Smith is out there dancing on logos. They're 11-0. Who gives a damn? You lose a game, all of a sudden the reporter's like, hey, wait a minute. What is he doing? You lose 2 games. Is that part of the reason why they're losing? They're distracted? You lose 3 games. Oh, it's a problem. Mike Tomlin has to reverse course. JuJu Smith has to reverse course. But let's talk about the optics you needed. Why I converted over to this situation. You ever heard of safety Von Bell? Yeah, me too. Played for the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, during the week, playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, he said, hey, it's disrespectful, homie, for you to be coming out here dancing on other people's logos. Don't do that in Cincinnati. JuJu Smith went out there and on all that. He did that. He did that. You see the first quarter? Did you see that hit?
Oh,
did you see?
God.
Did you see? Oh, there it is. Do you see that hit and that forced fumble? You need optics and you need substance. There it is.
But let me ask you
there
this,
it is, right there.
I was thinking about this myself.
Now we got
to work today. That's on JuJu.
Okay.
Meaning, JuJu got to go out there and deal with that. When I was in college, if players wanted to come out there and plant the flag on a Texas logo, or I went to the Longhorns, this was our symbol. So if people wanted to go throw the Longhorns down or whatever, that was disrespectful, people said. They got to deal with that. The individual player has to deal with that. So I'm saying, JuJu, if you want to go out there and dance, that's perfectly fine. You have to deal with the repercussions of that.
Okay.
But JuJu's dancing ain't got nothing to do with the Steelers. So why are the Steelers making it a Steelers issue? It got to do with JuJu. He the one that got the red mark on his helmet now. As I'm a defender, I see JuJu, oh, I'm going to come a little bit harder this time. But I'm not, like, going at Big Ben any differently. I'm going at JuJu. He the one that got to pay the price.
But I'll tell you why. Acho, God, I am 46, and I swear I feel 21. But because I'm not 21, I've seen things. I've tried things that have failed. And I've tried things that have worked. And under that realization of what works, what doesn't, you get into a reality that is really perception-based. Let me give you an example. looking at that fresh jacket you got on. It's a big old fresh jacket.
Sir.
What's that thing right there?
A little lapel pin.
Okay, lapel pin, all that. If I wanted to unravel, if I wanted to disassemble, if I wanted to tear that apart, you know what I would do? All I need to do is find one snag and start pulling on it, right? Same thing that happens when you're talking about a situation like this. If you want to move many, you whisper to one. All it takes for this conversation to grow out of control, to become a true distraction, to really have impact on the field, is to find one person that is not in alignment, pulling in the same direction, not only in perception, but in reality. JuJu by performance, it's a question mark. Is he even pulling as hard as he can? But then when you give someone a snag, just this much, they can pull on that and it can all fall apart. That's why chemistry matters so much. In a team game, you can't play the I card.
I'm not mad at your take. I'm mad your take is right. Right, you feel me? Like, I'm not mad at your take.
I'm getting old,
I'm mad your take is right. Because I'm looking at it. JuJu has 16 catches the last 3 weeks. He's had multiple 3-game stretches with less than 16 catches on the season. So JuJu's not playing the worst ball of his season. JuJu's not playing the worst ball of his career. But the Steelers are playing bad, so now JuJu got to suffer. And that's what's weird to me, because think about JuJu's brand. 3 million Instagram followers, 1 million YouTube subscribers, 3 million Twitter followers. Like, you would think that would pay dividends both now and at the end of his career. But now because the Steelers are playing bad, in part, you could say because of JuJu, but JuJu been like this all year. But now that the Steelers are playing bad, it's like, hey, JuJu, you stop playing inside the house. Stop doing inside the house, JuJu. Stop doing all that dancing, JuJu.
Yes.
That's what it don't sit right with your boy. It don't sit right.
And I understand that, but you got to understand in this context, when you walk in the house and your significant other, whatever the tone is of that room, you got to respect what that looks like. So when we all are turning up, come in here and be loud. But when it's like, hey, we got a couple issues to deal with right now. And then you walk in, yo. Hey, man, you know, context matters. Dancing 11-0 is different 0-3. And that's what's happening. Cam Hayward said it best. He said, we're giving it headlines because we're losing. JuJu, don't help them out. Don't give them no more headlines. Coming up at the top of the hour, we have more on the Steelers. We'll tell you if they will bounce back against the Colts on Sunday. But first, A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers is a top MVP candidate. Former teammate Greg Jennings will tell us if he'll lock up the award this weekend. That's next. Speak for yourself. JuJu got me hot.
What's up, Speak For Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before do something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak For Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak For Yourself. Aaron Rodgers is a big reason why the Packers are 11-3 and on top of the NFC. He leads the league with 40 touchdown passes, but he's facing a Titans team on Sunday that has won 4 out of 5. Right now, Rodgers trails Patrick Mahomes in the MVP odds. That's according to Fox Bet Sports Book. So, Marcellus, do you expect Aaron Rodgers to lock up the MVP this weekend in this matchup versus the Titans?
Yes, I think it's a wrap. I think it's a lock, and it's because Aaron Rodgers is out there performing better than anybody else at the NFL level, especially at the quarterback position. I know where you're going. I know you very well. I don't want to hear a counter to this because I'm going to give you some numbers and I'm going to give you some arguments that I don't understand how you can counter that. Aaron Rodgers leads the NFL with 40 touchdown passes and 118 passer rating. Anything else? I mean, what else is left? What are you going to start talking about? Air yards? How else you be? Wait a minute. Am I number one in the NFL in throwing touchdown passes? Yeah. Do I have the best rating of all quarterbacks? Yeah. What else are we talking about? To win the MVP, you got to win in two columns. One is with the numbers. I just gave you the numbers. And one is with the narrative. Oh, that's when it really gets ugly. That's when it looks like Brooklyn versus Golden State opening night.
That was bad.
That was
bad.
That was bad, and this is going to get ugly, too. As close as Patrick Mahomes is to Aaron Rodgers, which I assume everyone thinks this is a two-horse race, it's not really when you start thinking narrative. Aaron Rodgers was left to die. They didn't draft anything he needed. And then when they did draft, they drafted at his position in the first round, giving up assets and resources that could have helped this team go farther than it did last year, which was one game away from the Super Bowl. And Aaron Rodgers was sitting there like, did I just hear that Carson Wentz got a phone call from his organization saying, hey, we're interested in another quarterback just to let you know it's going to be okay, everything's fine. We know they were lying in because of what's happened now. Aaron Rodgers wasn't even given the courtesy of that same phone call. A potential GOAT, certainly your franchise quarterback, was left out there to die. And did he die? Nah, he just went out there and started killing everybody. So by the numbers and by the narrative, it is Aaron Rodgers' trophy to lose.
Oh, I don't mind that take. I'm going to come out the gate with a haymaker, have some fun, and then end it again.
Let me duck right now.
The first thing is very, very simple, Sel. The last three quarterbacks who won 15 games or more in a season won the MVP. Last three quarterbacks, 15 games or more in a season, won the MVP. Okay. That's the first thing. And obviously, as you know, Patrick Mahomes is on pace to win 15 games. Marcellus, I used to hang out a lot more frequently now.
You think?
That didn't have money. So I used to hang out with some broke people. And the great thing about broke people, they just laugh more. I think maybe because life is just more comical. When you got more money, you get stressed. But you can have different conversations with people that have bread. And Marcellus Wiley, America, he has bread.
I'm not talking to you.
Let's have a conversation, Sal.
What?
The difference between somebody that makes $1 million and $1.2 million is not a big difference, at least not to me, because you're not crossing another landmark. Right? If you were to make $1.5 million or $2 million, that's different than $1 million. But if you make $1 million versus 1.2, there's not a big difference. You're not crossing a big landmark. That's how I think about this Aaron Rodgers-Mahomes conversation.
I'm listening.
You bring up touchdowns.
Wait a minute. Did you just say, you bring up touchdowns? That's what the game's about. I bring up touchdowns. You care about points.
Hey, he brought up touchdowns, so let's talk about it.
What else are we going to talk about?
You bring up touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers supposed to end the season with what, 44, 45 touchdowns? Patrick Mahomes supposed to end the season with 40, 41 touchdowns. That's a negligible difference. I call it standard deviation. It's not a big difference
but
there.
Who's winning?
See, now, if Aaron Rodgers were to have 50 touchdowns to Patrick Mahomes' 40 or 30, that's a different bracket. But you know about money because you have a lot of it. So you know about tax brackets. Certain amounts of money can move you into another threshold, into another tax bracket. But Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes, they in the same tax bracket of touchdowns. So where is there a different tax bracket? Where is there a difference that's not negligible? That is in both wins, because Patrick Mahomes, with winning 15 games, assuming he wins out, is in a different tax bracket of wins, but also in passing yards. Because Patrick Mahomes on pace to eclipse 5,000 passing yards. Only 12 times in NFL history has that been done. So I'm not mad at your take, but because you have money, you understand this tax brackets, bro. And as long as Aaron Rodgers end up in the same touchdown tax bracket, then there's really ain't no difference touchdowns. So you got to talk to me differently. Well, let's bring in somebody else who might have a difference of opinion. That's former Green Bay Packer wide receiver, Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. My dog looking fresh as always.
He is crispy
He took
today.
one day off, but he does look fresh today. So, G, do you expect Aaron Rodgers to lock up the MVP this weekend?
That boy look good.
You do.
I don't expect him to lock up the MVP this weekend. I do expect him to lock it up. It will be a challenge, and here's why. When you look at the way that they're playing and why they're playing, the Tennessee Titans are coming in town. They're playing for something. The Packers are still trying to lock up that #1 seed. And so you're playing against a team who wants something, and they actually play well when it comes to cold weather and running the football. So you're going to be playing to win, not so much playing for stats. When you look across at Pat Mahomes, this week they got the Atlanta Falcons.
Good take.
They pretty much are sold up. So he can play a little bit more for stats. And Andy Reid and that offense, they understand what is at stake. They're not playing for their number one seed, so to speak. They're playing, okay, let's make sure our guy get another MVP. So you got two different style of games that can potentially be played. You got one team that's playing that with the Green Bay Packers, we got to just win. Now, if Aaron Rodgers shows out like he's done all season, I think he makes his case even more because the odds were against him. Like Marcellus said, all year long, we expected Patrick Mahomes to do this and put up these types of numbers. We did not anticipate Aaron Rodgers putting up these type of numbers that he's shown us this year.
Yeah, man, it's a really simple conversation that only gets complex because both guys are almost at that same threshold. So then we're forced to split hairs. Let's start splitting hairs. Remember, whoever loses in this conversation is still an ultimate winner because we're talking about the two best quarterbacks this year. Acho, I must push back. You said that they're on pace, the Kansas City Chiefs, to win 15 games, and the last three quarterbacks that won 15 games also won the MVP.
Yes, sir.
A few weeks ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers were on pace to win 16 games. How'd that turn out? Okay, and then you say, well, that's not the Chiefs. Oh, who did the Chiefs play? Atlanta. You could look at their record and be like, oh, they sorry. Wait a minute, Atlanta? At the end of the season? Oh, that ain't what you want to see. You know why? Ask Tampa Bay about Atlanta in the end of the season. Ask everybody that played Atlanta last year at the end of the season. For some reason, when you count them out, oh, it's time to count them in. That's a problem. Then they follow that game up with the Chargers. Justin Herbert. How did that go week 2 when they faced each other? Overtime, slim margin of victory by the Chiefs. In Justin Herbert's first game ever as a professional. So in that game also, Patrick Mahomes, it was a tight one. That's my point. They could be 13-3, Acho. Then what you gonna say? Where's your stat there? And last point I gotta push back on is this tax bracket conversation. Because you wanted to go there. We just went through an election, and we know that taxes gonna change for a lot of people, especially people that look like us up here on television. I'm in the highest tax bracket. I love to talk to my people for real. I'm in the highest tax bracket. But you know who also is in the highest tax bracket? Can't go any higher. Jeff Bezos. Like, me and Jeff Bezos in the same tax bracket, but boy, does it look different. Correct? So I don't want to hear this argument of, well, you know what? Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers are basically the same. If you 1,000 feet away, it looks that way. Come a little closer. It look a lot different. And that's what it is with Aaron Rodgers and some of the numbers. Number 1 in primetime performances. Number 1 in passing rating and touchdowns. Come a little closer, Acho. I ain't Jeff Bezos.
Here's the thing. So when I get close, when I zoom in, when I take my microscope out and I really start looking at it, it's such a negligible difference. Now, if you want to go back to, what was it, 6th grade, when we had science class and you would take out the microscopes and start looking for, atoms and all that other stuff, right? Well, I don't even know if you can see atoms under the microscope. I don't think you can. But if you want to talk about that, then maybe Marcellus will find a sliver of a difference in passing touchdowns. But what is the bigger barking point? The bigger chip is if you have 15 wins on the season, if you have thrown for 5,000 yards, only 8 quarterbacks in the NFL history have done that. It's only been done 12 times, and you have to be no great mathematician to understand that 32 starting quarterbacks over the course of 50 years, plus or minus, that's about, 1,500 opportunities, and it's only been done 12 times. So if Patrick Mahomes does that, then your biggest argument for Aaron Rodgers is something off a Hollywood script. He was counted out. He wasn't supposed to be the starter.
Narrative.
They traded up to draft a quarterback to replace him. Your biggest argument then, Marcellus, is something that you might take to a showrunner and be like, hey, can we sell this on Hollywood Boulevard? But that doesn't stick in the NFL. The fact of the matter is Patrick Mahomes will have more team success. Patrick Mahomes will have just as much individual success. I get that we live in L.A., but not everything has to do with Hollywood. Some things just have to do with facts.
Good point.
Since we're stripping it all the way down and we're talking every little nuance here, when we talk about the most valuable player, it's just that. It is who is most important to their team, to their organization, if you will. And when you look at Aaron Rodgers and you look at Patrick Mahomes, are they both very talented? Yes. Can we say that their stats are pretty comparable? Yes. Value to the team. If you take away Aaron Rodgers, There is no Green Bay Packers. You take away Patrick Mahomes, you can insert an Alex Smith, you can insert somebody else, and they still have success because they have so many pieces. They have so many other variables that tie in to the success of their team. When you look at the Green Bay Packers, that is so not true. That is just not the case. You eliminate Aaron Rodgers, you've eliminated the Green Bay Packers from this discussion. You've eliminated the Green Bay Packers from the playoffs. You've eliminated the Green Bay Packers, period. So when we talk about the most valuable player, I get it. We get so mesmerized by these numbers that players are putting up, but the value to the team is of importance. And I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes is not valuable to that team, because he is.
Of course.
But he is not as valuable as Aaron Rodgers to the Green Bay Packers.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm hearing you properly. So you want to reward Aaron Rodgers because the organization didn't necessarily build a better organization. Is that what I'm hearing? Because it would be like saying Drew Brees isn't that valuable because they have a competent backup in Taysom Hill. So are we going to reward Aaron Rodgers because the rest of the Packers don't fit the bill? Because I understand that there is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, although he got hurt. I understand there's Le'Veon Bell. I understand that the Chiefs are competent enough to draft first-round picks that they'll actually play. I understand that the Chiefs are competent enough to go out there and sign another running back in the event their current starter gets hurt. I understand that the Chiefs organization has been more competent thus far in drafting and free agency than the Packers organization. But Greg Jennings, with those two Packers jerseys behind you, are you really going to sit here and say that we should reward Aaron Rodgers because of the deficiencies of management? Is that what I heard?
That's not at all what I'm saying. But what I am saying is you can double reward him because his stats are there. You can't beat that. And because I have less to work with, and I'm still right where you at. So when we talk about putting the team on your back, that's what Aaron Rodgers has done. I'll pass the ball to Marcellus. Go ahead, take it home.
I like that right there, boy. Woo, we're talking about one conversation of a team being a dynasty, and one team that we were like, is this the beginning of the end, if not dynasty versus doom? But that may be too drastic, too extreme right there. Acho wants to hide behind the comparable numbers, even though Aaron Rodgers has the lead, and you can win an Olympic gold medal by that. Acho, you got to blow somebody out to get the gold. Photo finish. Oh, I don't know who won. Hey, big dog, who you got? That's what's happening right now if you want to go with Acho. But stay with me. Stay with Greg. Let's talk about this. Patrick Mahomes made a mistake in this race, and he made it at the wrong time. And timing is everything. When you need a mulligan game, as even the MVPs need, and both of these guys have a mulligan game. But Aaron Rodgers' mulligan game was in Week 6 against Tampa Bay. When was Patrick Mahomes' mulligan game? Week 14, when all eyes are focused in on who is the MVP. Mulligan game.
Oh, he won. He won.
Mulligan. He won. And how many interceptions? How many interceptions?
He won.
Yes, he won. Okay, my turn. Can you answer this? How many interceptions?
He threw 3.
Oh, okay, that's his worst game of this season. So when Aaron Rodgers is sitting there saying, I have worse weapons around me, even though I got a better offensive line, and I have better numbers than you, then how are you going to beat me in this photo finish? It's Aaron Rodgers.
I got a question. I didn't want to ask, but I want Greg, I got to ask you because you played offense here. Greg, what's worse, 3 interceptions or 2 interceptions, one being a pick 6, another going to the 1-yard line? No bias in. Like, I'm genuinely asking you, like, what's worse, 3 interceptions?
I know that answer.
Or 2 interceptions, but one was a pick 6, the other was a pick to the 2?
I know that answer.
We can't have no pick 6s.
Yeah, that pick 6 ain't
pick 6.
So Sal, again, if we're going to talk about, okay, same tax bracket, but let's look within the tax bracket. Let's look under the hood.
I like
Patrick Mahomes did have a 3-interception game.
Yeah.
He had a 3-interception game in which he won. Aaron Rodgers had a 2-interception game in which he lost by 28, and he contributed to that loss because he threw a pick 6.
Yeah.
even Aaron Rodgers' worst game was significantly worse. This is not my words. These are Greg Jennings, former Packers superstar with his jerseys behind him and a Lombardi trophy currently sitting on his lap. These are Greg Jennings' words, that the two-pick game is worse. So, Sal, don't act like it's comparable now, big dog.
Okay.
Don't act like they both had bad games.
Okay, but I said timing is everything.
Okay.
Look, you ever been audited? Me either. All right, here's the thing. If the IRS is going through your books and they're like, well, 6 years ago, what's this record we see in this transaction?
Statute of limitations.
Versus the IRS is right there, and your homie running, hey, big dog, are we still going to keep it laundry? Oh, sorry, big dog. It's a little different. Timing is everything. Coming up, Ezekiel Elliott is getting paid like a top back, but it's not showing in his statistics. We'll tell you if the Cowboys should be looking for a breakup. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Christmas Day, it's an NFL special as the Vikings take on the Saints. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on Fox. Also available on NFL Network and streaming on Prime Video. Ho, 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 ho. Let's get to another NFC team, the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott is on pace to have career lows in rushing touchdowns and yards, but he's tied for second in average salary for running backs at $15 million per year. Yeesh! Which has led some to speculate if the Cowboys will want to break up this offseason with Zeke. Zeke sent a message to his critics yesterday, take a lesson.
I mean, at the end of the day, those aren't the people signing my checks. Those aren't the cats that are making the final decisions. So, I mean, I think there's a reason they're not the ones making those decisions. I don't think it really matters. It doesn't really hold much with me what people outside of this building are saying.
Greg is back with us. But Acho, should the Cowboys, Zeke, you all right? Be looking for a breakup from Zeke?
Oh, they absolutely should, Sal. Look, think about this. Like, when I heard Zeke, he was like, that outside noise doesn't matter. That is true if the noise inside is harmonious, right? I get on Twitter, Acho, you suck. I can't stand watching you on air, blah, 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 blah. I'm not worried about that, because inside, everything is still Gucci. But see, Zeke, inside the building, they know you're struggling. And I'm going to shine a real light on it. The Cowboys got to move on from Zeke. At the beginning of the season, we said this. Tony Pollard needs to start getting some more carries. That's the backup running back. Then by the middle of the season, we said this. Man, they got to go with the two-back combo. Zeke can be thunder, Tony Pollard can be lightning. But by the end of the season, we saying it's time to move on completely. This really isn't an argument. This really isn't a conversation. Cowboys fans, for those that are watching, I'm going to give y'all some water cooler talk. Let's talk about who's number one. Let's look at just about every statistical category you can think of. Tony Pollard on the right, Zeke on the left. Tony Pollard has more yards per carry. Tony Pollard has a longer long run. Tony Pollard has a higher receiving average. Tony Pollard has a higher receiving long. When you talk about both the micro and the macro aspects in which we can break this down, Tony Pollard literally wins in each and every category, and he's significantly cheaper. But okay, Acho, you might say don't use averages. I don't know, maybe you don't like averages. I'll give it to you like this. Tony Pollard started one game this season, this past Sunday, against the defensive coordinator in which many people say should be the first person considered for the next head coaching vacancy. Yeah. That's who he started this last game against. Tony Pollard had 132 yards in that start. Now, Zeke has never had more than 130 yards all season long. Zeke's had 3 games of 120 yards, but he's had 8 games under 100 yards. Tony Pollard had 1 start against the defensive coordinator who everybody is praising as should be the next head coach. And he did what Zeke could not do in 13 or 14 starts all season long. When I give you that small sample size, or when I give you the larger sample size of the entirety of the season, there's actually no argument to say that Zeke should return and the Cowboys should be looking to continue on what they have with them.
Oh, I have that argument why they should continue with Zeke going forward. I'm going to speak a little from experience, but also from my observation of guys in the league. This is the first time you ever seen Ezekiel Elliott in this light for an entire season. Let's just be real about this. We have never seen him fall down before. But in life, it's not about if you fall down. It's about if you get up.
Oh, God. Pastor Wiley.
Oh, people in the back. People in the back.
Marcellus, come on, bro.
With that little tambourine.
Come
Dang,
on,
hey,
bro.
Sister Elder over there. Hey, let me just say this. I don't know if Zeke has it in him, the intestinal fortitude, as they say, to get up. But let's just be real. We can't call him a failure on his first fall down. What has to happen is the natural process that happens for every player that struggles for a season in the NFL. I raise my hand as I testify. I struggled during seasons in the NFL. Once you hit the offseason, you start to look at people and they look at you the same, but you're thinking different. It's called public humiliation. When you are not proud of your work and then you have to go around for 6+ months and say hello to every single person that you've been saying hello to before, and you register their excitement and reception like, hey, Zeke, what's up, baby? Oh, you the man. And this year they're like, oh, what's up, Zeke? You good? That is something that lights a fire in every single player. It makes you more competitive. It makes you go back to square one. It makes you reset your focus. And with Ezekiel's talent and the fact that he's never been in this place before, I want to see him go through that cycle and come out better for it. So if I'm the Cowboys, I come to the realization, ooh, Zeke, you messed up. And this year, you're going to find out how much you messed up. But next year, we're going to run it back, and let's see if you're better for it.
Yeah, Marcellus, you're 100% right. You do not cut ties with Ezekiel Elliott, man. This is why, again, we go back to this relationship deal all the time with you, Acho. This is why you're single, man.
It is. You give up.
You can't just walk away. You can't just walk away because you had a rift, because you had an argument, because it didn't go your way. You gotta see if it can be tested in the fire, and that's Ezekiel Elliott right now. He's being tested. His line is bad. In the same line that we can say Ezekiel Elliott has, so does Tony Pollard. And he's proven to be able to hit that line a little harder and show a lot more flashes. Ezekiel is having an awakening right now, knowing that I'm not the only one. I'm not the only guy. But that's okay as long as he bounces back next year. We've seen he's struggled. He's turned the ball over. He's done everything that you would have thought that he should not be doing. He has done it. 6 fumbles, 5 lost fumbles, career highs. And Tony Pollard's not turning the ball over. So everything that Tony Pollard doing is in a beautiful, beautiful light and in a beautiful lens. But I don't forget what this brother has done. I haven't forgotten what he has in him because of just one season. And that, Acho, is where you have missed the bar. You can't just throw away those other seasons as if they don't exist. They don't exist, and that's not who we think he is, because that's why we paid him, because of what we know he can do. Now, can he continue to do that? We will find out when they come back a healthier team and he has another mental state, as I'm going to lean on Marcellus for saying, you're going to have 6 months to assess that film, and then you're going to have to come back a whole different guy.
Take over the show, Greg. Keep preaching.
My ears
Keep preaching.
bleeding with how bad
That's a little
is.
blood for little ears. You ain't got a lot of little ears.
What? I'm so glad when I talk to y'all sometimes that I am single, because what y'all are telling me is that it's okay to get stepped out on, Acho. It's okay if she rob your bank accounts, Acho. It's okay if she don't come home at night, Acho. It's okay if she cheat on you with your best friend, Acho. As long as y'all had a good year 4 years ago, everything is fine. Are you all the same 2 men that said that the Eagles should move on from Carson Wentz? But what about Carson Wentz's bad offensive line? What about the fact that the Eagles have started 13 different offensive lines in 14 weeks at the times? Are you all the same men that said, move on from Jalen Hurts? Let me move on to Jalen Hurts. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm not going to make a hard tangent. What I'll say is this. The reason the Eagles were able to move on from Carson Wentz to Jalen Hurts is because Jalen Hurts was sitting there. The reason that so many people move on from their significant others is because they have somebody else there. They don't have to go look. They don't have to go search. They don't have to go draft a first-round pick like the Green Bay Packers did. They already had somebody there. The Cowboys already got somebody there. I'm not saying the Cowboys should go draft somebody else. I'm not saying the Cowboys should go out of their way to go find somebody else. They shouldn't go on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and start courting several different people. They already have a secretary that they can shine their light on. They already have a new assistant that's the apple of their eye. They got somebody in-house, fellas. They got a pool boy. They got a nanny. Like, they ain't got to go on a whole bunch of different dates. So, yes, the Cowboys should break up with Zeke because it would be very easy, very swift. Gee, what else do you need to see?
Ooh, gee,
Zeke had five or six fumbles in the first 10 weeks. He had 5 fumbles, I think, in like the first 7 weeks. What else you need to see? He's been declining the last 3 years. 95 yards a game in 2018, 84 yards a game in 2019, 64 yards a game in 2020. But, fellas, I'll leave it to you like this. When the Dallas Cowboys needed him most, Dak Prescott went down. Tyron Smith went down. Lyle Collins was down.
Good point.
When Andy Dalton went down. When the Dallas Cowboys needed Ezekiel Elliott most, where was he to be found? He wasn't. So as a result, no, I'm not sitting here rushing to get married so I can get treated like y'all. Oh, sure, come home whenever you want. Leave me whenever you want. No, fellas, there is a standard. The Dallas Cowboys have a standard. They were called America's team because of their standard. They need their star players to live up to that standard. Got awfully quiet.
I agree. They do need them to live up to a standard. And one of the standards was, can he handle being paid this amount of money, and can he focus on the field and allow those outside distractions to now cease? He's done that. He's been doing what he's been asked. And when you set the bar so high, the problem with having a bar that is set extremely high out of the gate is the expectation is for you to reach that or exceed it every single time you walk out the house. Acho,
What's up?
It is a challenge when you are dependent upon others to reach your bar. That is not just on Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, can he be better? 100%. I bet you if you asked Ezekiel Elliott, can you improve? Can you get better? Are you a reason why this team has been in the loss column as many times this year? He would answer yes. He's been a part of that. But he will also answer yes to the reason of, am I a reason why we can be better? Am I one of the reasons why we will be better? Yes.
But, G, let me ask you this. G.
You don't walk away from
Let me ask you this. If we had remember they say this, comparison is the thief of all joy. I fervently and wholeheartedly believe that. If we had nothing to compare Zeke to, I'm with you, G. With the fresh jacket, the black undershirt, I would look like you, I would sound like, I would talk like, I would do all the same things with you. I'd be standing on your side of the fence. But the fact of the matter is, Greg, is that I can't blindly turn my eye to the fact of there is another running back running behind the same offensive line, playing with the same coach, getting coached by the same running back coach, same head coach, same general manager, same owner, that's being incredibly more productive. Like, I can't turn a blind eye, Greg, to the fact that Tony Pollard had 102 total yards in his first start. Zeke has had under 100 yards 8 times, never had over 130 yards all season long. I just can't turn the blind eye to the fact, G, that Tony Pollard has more rushing yards, more receiving yards, a higher rushing long, a higher receiving long. Like, you have another running back that's better and cheaper. What you want to stay with Zeke for? What y'all are saying, it actually don't even make sense.
This is like the Antonio Brown, JuJu Smith-Schuster case that you were making earlier.
I got a nugget.
This is like that. When you have something like Ezekiel Elliott and the opposing defense sees that, they're going to look at that and they're going to put everything in it because we know we got to stop him. But Tony Pollard, he's the new fresh shiny toy. He's not going to get that same exertion, that same energy from what's across from him, because they don't really believe that he can sustain that. And the Cowboys haven't seen that he can sustain the durability and that load that Ezekiel Elliott has for those seasons that you mentioned he's in a decline. Tony Pollard hasn't had the opportunity to do that. So do you throw all your ducks in that basket? Do you throw all your eggs in there? You don't do that. You dare not do that because you're uncertain yourself that he can really hold on to that.
I love everything you're saying right now, Greg. Acho has some strong points, too. That's why they're going to meet behind closed doors and have this conversation where they're going to beat up the conversation about Ezekiel Elliott, because this is an interesting dynamic in terms of what we're seeing right now in his decline, but also in his opportunity for redemption. Let's be real. Let's not rob him of that opportunity of redemption, the opportunity to win next year, maybe most improved player. But Carson Wentz and Ezekiel Elliott, let's not make those kind of comparisons, because Ezekiel Elliott still ranks 15th amongst running backs in terms of rush yards per game and 14th in scrimmage yards per game. Carson Wentz is not mid-pack as a quarterback in any of his rankings. So let's talk about what I heard Acho say.
What I say?
Because my boy is single, but now I found out he's single and he lazy. He talking about the secretary needs some light. When you go out, you gotta, where you work? Really, Acho? Like, you that dude. I figured out a lot about you, Acho. I listen to every single word you say.
God.
But I heard something real from Greg, and I gotta respond to the fact that Tony Pollard, I'm a fan of his. I feel like I'm one of the people early to the conversation of Ezekiel's decline.
You were?
I was talking about this for a while, and it's a real thing. But hold your horses here. Can Tony Pollard handle the load? I've been a backup before and was doing well as a backup, and then you become a starter, and it's like, this is a different animal. Is Tony Pollard ready for 300-plus carries a year when you let Ezekiel Elliott go if Acho gets his way? No, I'm not going there. My last point is this, because I don't want to argue. It's the holiday spirit. I look amazing up here, immaculate. You get judged by
You look good, boss.
Yeah, you do.
I didn't hear you.
You look good, boss.
We all get judged by our peers. It's weird. There's so many channels when you're a player in the NFL. You could turn on one channel, just my teammates. Okay, let me turn another channel, just the people in my division. Let me turn it to the whole league, my peers, what the fans are saying, what coaches are saying, what general managers think of me, etc. Here's one channel that I tuned into that some players told me about Ezekiel Elliott, that in their words, this is conjecture and this could be hearsay because I'm not certain of this, but I'm hearing from his peers that Ezekiel is dealing with some personal things. Ezekiel could address that if he wants to, whatever that is, whether it's true or false. But we might be seeing, just in this moment, a manifestation of some issues in his life that can be resolved. But to throw the baby out with the bathwater, Acho, Ezekiel has too much talent for that. Coming up, the entire Seahawks team has been cooking recently. We'll tell you if we believe in Seattle. That's next. Speak for yourself. Damn, I ain't no snitch, but I want to tell you.
Welcome back. Time now for Rewarding Performance, sponsored by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Let's head to Seattle, where the Seahawks have won 4 of their last 5. And a big reason is the defense. Russell Wilson's offense has scored 30 points only once in that span, but the defense has stepped up big time and has given up under 15 points per game. Greg Jennings is back with us, but Marcellus, you up first.
Yes.
You believing in these Seahawks after their defensive turnaround?
Absolutely, yes. This is what we're talking about when you're talking about complementary football. You talk about a balanced approach. This whole let Russ cook sounds great, and it sounded great in the beginning of the season. Looked great. Now you're realizing, oh, we're going to need all phases, all things to complement each other for the Seahawks to have their best chance going forward. This is how you play optimal football. You go out there the old Seahawks way. This is not a Legion of Boom, but this is still a defense that has allowed only 17 points or fewer in their last 4 performances. So you look at now that complementary balanced attack, I think they have a lower ceiling than some other teams in their conference, but this is still the best approach for them. When you talk about getting Carlos Dunlap in the trade, 5 sacks in his last 6 games since arriving via the trade, and how they always play in these one-score games. I'm sure Acho is going to talk about it. That's one of his talking points, how the Seahawks usually figure out how to win those close one-score games. Now you got a defense to complement that and healthy running backs now. Carlos Hyde coming back recently. You can see it just starting to recalculate and starting to work for this team. Is it going to be enough? I won't go that far, but certainly this is the best approach for the Seahawks to go out there and try and make some noise.
I got a question, big dog Marcellus Wiley. You want me to applaud the Seahawks for beating Dwayne Haskins? You want me to applaud the Seahawks for beating the New York Jets? You want me to applaud the Seahawks for beating my dog, but backup quarterback for the Giants, Colt McCoy? You want me to applaud the Seahawks for beating Carson Wentz and Philadelphia Eagles? Because that's the last 4 games they've played.
That's all you could do.
That's when they've held opponents to 15, 3, 12, and 17. So is that what you want me to applaud the Seahawks for doing?
I mean, who else we going to play, Coach? I'm sorry. Acho's team wasn't available.
I'm not going to knock them for winning those games. That would be utterly ridiculous.
I'm with you.
But I'm also not going to applaud them for beating Dwayne Haskins, the Jets, losing to Colt McCoy, actually. They didn't even beat Colt. You played Colt and you lost, but you held them to 17 points. And losing to Carson Wentz. Like, I'm beating Carson Wentz. I'm just not going to applaud them for doing that. I'm not believing in this Seahawks turnaround. Again, we talk about this all the time. We talk about education on this show. If you watch this show, you're probably a smart individual because you're talking to smart individuals.
Hey.
So, if I go out there, bro, and I get a 65 on my photosynthesis test, science class in my freshman year in high school, if you got 100 on a photosynthesis test, you got an A in the class. Stephanie Barter, great teacher. If I go out there and get a 65 on my photosynthesis test, but all of a sudden I get a 95 on my intro to science test, I'm not going to sit here and expect you to sing my praises. Don't believe in my turnaround. I didn't turn around. It's just an easier test. Like, that's what it is. The Seahawks, I'm not going to say that they turned around. So they beat Dwayne Haskins. The same Dwayne Haskins who we going to get into it, but I'm not sure how focused he was.
Don't do that.
They beat the New York Jets. The same New York Jets who we've questioned if they were throwing games this season. They lost to the Giants at home playing a backup quarterback who hadn't won a game since 2014. And then they beat the lowly Carson Wentz at the lowest point of the lowest season in his career. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to knock the Seahawks for winning. That would be dumb. That would be ludicrous.
Lowly Carson
Wentz. I'm
Wentz.
not going to believe in a Seahawks turnaround for acing easy tests.
Wow.
Well, I believe in the turnaround, and it's not just about the test that you take. It's literally about how you take the test, meaning how do you prepare? How do you study? And so what I've seen with the Seattle Seahawks is they're taking the test differently. They're approaching each test differently. They're not so much concerned with what the test consists of. They're concerned with how they approach the test. And that's what's been most impressive when you talk about not allowing Russ to cook. And this is what makes teams scary. When we saw him cook at the beginning of the season, we're like, oh, my goodness, this guy is putting the team on his back. He's cooking out of control. And then it started to falter. Coaching, they identify it. They switch it up. Oh, we got to take that. We got to think about how we're going to take this test now, how we're going to approach these games now, because what we used to do, how we used to approach it, it's not working for us any longer. Now you add defense into the equation and you're approaching the test differently. You're scary because we know what you could do when you just wing it and you allow your quarterback to just cook. You can still make things happen. You can still be scary, but now you're not even doing that, and you play close games, and you got one of the best quarterbacks when it comes to fourth quarter comebacks and winning the game on the last drive. That's a scary team. That's a team that understands.
I feel you, and I love that. That was a bar. Now, me and Marcellus looked at each other and said, yo, that was a bar. You said, it's not the test you take, it's how you take that was a bar. My dog came prepared for the show today. His educational level matches his looks. That was a bar. But I'm going to push back, G, because we all took G, did you take the SAT or the ACT?
ACT.
ACT. Sal, SAT or ACT?
SAT.
Facts. I took the SAT myself. Now, we have to be honest. There was a difference when we were taking that practice test because of the lack of pressure involved when you're sitting in that room taking a practice test and when you were sitting there realizing like, yo, man, if I don't get these answers right, I ain't going to get into Columbia. Man, if I don't get these answers right, your boy might not get into... Like, there's a difference, fellas, when you're taking a test with significantly lower pressure and how you perform than when you're taking a test with a lot more pressure.
True.
All I'm saying is this. When you play the New York Jets, of course Russell Wilson can give you 4 touchdown passes. Like, there ain't no pressure. When you play in Washington, who's starting Dwayne Haskins, of course I would assume that defense can dominate. There ain't no pressure. But when you play the Rams, and you know you got a lot of pressure winning that division, don't look the same. When you play the Bills, It's a playoff team. Josh Allen looking like a top 5 quarterback. That's a little different. Just like there was a difference when y'all took the SAT and the ACT when it mattered versus when you were sitting at home taking a little practice test with your mom and dad timing you. It's a difference in these Seahawks playing Washington, the Jets, the Giants, or the Eagles. It's a different amount of pressure. I'm not a believer just yet.
Yeah, well, the Jets just beat the Rams, so I don't know how sorry they are. They're not as sorry as that record. And also, they had some close contests. The Raiders. I went to the Chargers game. I'm just telling you. Well, it's still a bad school. It's still University of Texas academically, but it's all right. It's
Texas
still the Jets.
is like number 7 in public school.
I know that. You're a great school, but it's okay that I punched there and you still have to defend it. So you don't feel comfortable at how great your school is. That's the only reason I do that. You give me that response every time. I really wanted to just say, yeah, what Greg said, because Greg killed that take. Exactly what Greg is saying. The defense balling is adding to their arsenal, not taking away. You add let Russ cook. Then you add the fact that they can play ground control running game when they're healthy at the running back position. Now the defense is showing up. I don't give a damn who the opponents are because of how you take the test. Say it again, Greg. Damn it, that was a bar. The point is, Acho, beginning of the season, they won 4 or 5. The beginning of the season, they won 6 or 7. And we were sitting there singing their praises. And now they won 4 of 5. And I know we can get deeper into who they're playing in the beginning of the season and right now. But the point is they're forming their own Voltron. All these different components that can add up, aggregate to a team that's going to be very interesting to deal with going forward because they can approach you and they can attack you in so many different ways. With a quarterback that capable, with a running game, with a defense that is now playing up to standard, look out for Seattle. We'll see. Coming up, Big Ben says he's been playing like poop, like poo-poo. We'll tell you if we have faith that the Steelers can bounce back Sunday against the Colts. That's next. Big You're watching Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley, Emmanuel Acho. Merry Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas Eve, Brother Merrick. You look good.
I look good?
If nobody else tells you today, I'm going to tell you, you look good.
I crossed the threshold this morning that I would tell you off camera and hopefully share with you guys. Log on to my Twitter account later. Let's head to a huge matchup in the AFC. You can see it right here. The Steelers are 2-point underdogs at home against the Colts Sunday, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Pittsburgh has lost 3 straight, and Ben Roethlisberger addressed all the criticism, saying, quote, when you play like poo, you should get talked about like that. So, Acho, do you have faith in the Steelers bouncing back against the Colts?
I have as much faith in the Steelers bouncing back as I do you getting me a Christmas gift. At this point, Sal, we all 45 minutes left in the show before Christmas, and I don't see no gifts. Mind you, I didn't get you one, but
I was about to say, Your Honor.
I'm leveling expectations. Okay, I didn't get you one. Okay,
Your Honor.
But that's how much faith I have. But in all seriousness, I ain't got faith in the Steelers fixing their issues against the Colts because the Steelers aren't worried about the right issue, so they can't bounce back. So for so long after I left the NFL, I had knee pain right under that knee joint, whatever it is. My knee was hurting. I would wear the bands around your knee. I would foam roll my kneecaps. Then I finally went to a physical therapist. He said, Acho, the issue isn't at your kneecap. The issue, you have a tight IT band. That's that hip. And then right there at the side of your leg, it rolls into the front of your knee. I was focused on the wrong issue, so I couldn't fix the problem. Steelers.
I like.
Y'all focused on JuJu dancing, TikTok dancing. Like, y'all focused on the wrong things. How can you fix a problem if you're focused on the wrong issue? Let's talk about the real issue, which also can't be fixed, but that's Big Ben and how he's declining. Just look at the last 4 games, people. Completion percentage, Ravens to Washington, the Bills to the Bengals, y'all gonna see it, declining each and every week from 70% to 62 to 56 to 52. And now you're about to play the Indianapolis Colts that rank 7th in total defense. Big Ben's going the wrong way. The Colts defense stands up here, and y'all expect me to believe that they can bounce back? I just don't see it. If the Steelers were focused on the right issue, I think they could fix the problem. But if I had been focused on my kneecap, I probably would have gotten healthier sooner. Or the IT band, I would have been healthier sooner. But as long as you focused on the wrong issues, you can't fix the problem.
Hard to push back against that. Strong. I think they're going to bounce back. But let me talk about the fact that they were addressing something, because you keep saying they're focused on it. You've been in the NFL before.
Yes, sir.
From the outside, oh my God, the whole conversation is JuJu dancing. But on the inside, we sit there like, what? We never talk about that. Like, JuJu went to Thomas' office. Thomas said, dude, it ain't worth it. Like and nothing wrong with it, but it's not worth it. Stop it. It's a national story on the outside, and we're not even thinking about that. So I think this team is a team that obviously in their decline right now, or their drought in terms of the win-loss column, we're starting to exaggerate. We're starting to be hypercritical. And we can't forget that this horrible, terrible quarterback you were saying in decline in Ben Roethlisberger is right now on pace to match his career high in passing touchdowns. Could this be the best version of Ben Roethlisberger we've ever seen in totality? I asked you that, Acho. As it stands, it will be his 4th time eclipsing 30 touchdowns or more in his career. Big Ben, a future Hall of Famer, 4th time doing this, Acho. But it's about their defense. One team in the NFL could say, no one has scored 30 points on us this year. By coincidence, it's the Steelers, right? In this conversation. So, Acho, what I don't want to happen, because we're going to do our show different, because we're different. We don't have a referee in the middle of us who never played. It's like, so what do you think, Acho? Marcel's, we're not playing that. We're going to keep it real. On the outside, JuJu talk. On the inside, Steelers get better talk.
Fair.
And this is a team that is still poised to go out there and do it.
Well, then let's just talk realistically about the numbers then. If we're not going to talk all the semantics and the gyrations, let's lose all that. What about the fact that, you watched that game against the Bengals Monday night, if I'm not mistaken. May have been Sunday night. My day is all confused right now.
Yeah.
You watched that game. Out of their first 8 possessions, the Steelers versus the Bengals, 7 3-and-outs. The one that wasn't a 3-and-out, well, 2 weren't 3-and-outs. One ended in a fumble. Another ended in an interception. That was against the Bengals. If I'm looking at the Steelers team that's on the decline, that played the Bengals, and out of your first 8 possessions had 7 3, that's hard to do. It's hard for an offense to have 7 3-and-outs, let alone against the defense in the Bengals that's 23rd in the National Football League. So when I look at the Steelers, now you about to play a better defense.
Yeah.
You're getting worse. You struggled against the bad defense. Sal, you remind me of that dude, and a true story. I was in a casino one time. I ain't told a casino story in a while. I miss him.
You saw Idris Elba there? I remind you of who? What you say? Billy D?
No. I was at the casino cell, and I'm sitting at this table. A dude walks up. He puts $1,500 down. He loses that hand. He says, forget it. Pulls out another wad of cash. Puts $3,000 down.
Damn.
True story, loses that hand. Forget it. Pulls out $6,000. Puts $6,000 down. He loses that hand. I'm like, yo, you need to get up.
One hand every time?
Every time. Forget it. Puts $12,000 down. He was just doubling every time.
What is he wearing to have all this money?
The richest people come in nothing. Loses that hand. Finally, he just leaves. Just leaves. Don't say nothing. He gets upset and leaves. Lost about $20-something.
Hell yeah.
But the thing was, he was just betting mindlessly, hoping that the next hand would win, with no actual logic or strategy as to doing that. You remind me of that guy right now. Think about it. Steelers, they lose against Ben Roethlisberger, 70% completion percentage. But then the next week, Washington, 62% completion percentage. They lose that hand. Then the Bills, 56% completion percentage. They lose that hand. Then the Bengals, 52% completion percentage. They lose that hand. Now against the Colts, you're taking out $12,000 and saying, figuratively, of course, putting that money down like, yeah, they're going to beat the Colts.
Yeah.
So you have no logic, no reason to think that.
Now, you know I'm not gambling. You know I'm not a gambler.
That's why I said figuratively.
Right. Now, if you had said he ordered 97 bottles at the club, that's me. I'm doing too much. Let's drink our money away. That said, let me talk to you real about this. Ben Roethlisberger got bored with success. I know how it goes. I could tell it by his numbers, and I could tell it by just his team's composition. Why did he get bored with success? Because he started to hear people saying that, Ben, you're killing it this year, dinking and dunking. You're killing it this year, dinking and dunking. And you know what Ben said? Well, let me show you with my repaired elbow. And that's what happened. And Tomlin, I bet, is like, hey, dog, stop playing down to your competition as well as getting disturbed by people saying you can't throw the deep ball. Two things happening at once is why this team looked like the last 3 weeks it's imploding of sort. But I'm going to push back on you, Acho, and say this. When teams play down to their competition, that's a misdemeanor, not a felony. A lot of people think that's a felony, but I will push back on anybody who says that and say, look, coach, who are we going to play in the playoffs? Are we playing the Bengals? Are we going to sit there as you did earlier in this show? Well, Patrick Mahomes got to play the Falcons and he plays the Chargers. Pad his stats. Who doesn't think that way? But as a competitor, as someone who respects their opponents, you can never go into a game like, this is JV versus us. You got caught up in the same thing I think the Steelers did. They played down a little bit to the competition, at least that Cincinnati game. All that said, I think they're going to right their wrongs because they're too talented and they started too fast. Congratulations to the 5 winners who split the Fox Super 6 jackpot last Sunday, winning $20,000 apiece of Terry Bradshaw's money. What? Terry, chill. All right, make sure you download the Fox Super 6 app and make your picks for tomorrow's Christmas special contest featuring the Vikings and the Saints.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Oh, this is going to be good. We got to head to Washington for this one. Dwayne Haskins was fined $40,000 and had his role of team captain taken away after he was photographed at an event with strippers while not wearing a mask. Now, Haskins apologized to the team saying, quote, "I will learn from this mistake." He's only 1-4 as a team starter this season. Greg Jennings is back with us. We needed another voice for this one. But Marcellus, before I get your reaction to this one,
yes, sir.
I actually have a question for you, sir. Now, again, I've told you this. I ain't never been to a strip club, and we've heard conflicting reports that he was at a strip club or he was at an event with strippers. Do strippers at an event make it a strip club, or is it the building, the club itself, that makes it a strip club? I was thinking about this preparing for the show, and I'm like, wait a second. Do the strippers make it a strip club, or does the club make it a strip club? Marcellus Wiley, the floor is yours, sir.
You got a wire on you. You know I'm married. I can't be up here breaking it. You know, single dude up here. You tell me. Wink, 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 wink. Hey, if a stripper's in the building, it's a strip club to me. Nah, I'm just kidding. I caught the same thing when reading this James Harden story as well. I'm like, what are y'all doing to differentiate a strip club from just a place where strippers are? I'm going to push back on that. And that's all I'm going to say and stay married. That's all I'm going to go.
Let's get to the point then.
Okay, good.
What's your reaction to this whole Dwayne Haskins situation, big bro?
Did you say strippers? No, it's Let me stop. All right, look. Dwayne Haskins is done in Washington, but not done in the NFL. Okay. Once again, I was early to this one, and it probably just went by everybody. I had some intel tell me about Dwayne Haskins and what was going on in his personal life and dealings. And last year, we had to respond to when Dwayne Haskins, y'all remember, was up there taking selfies instead of finishing out a ball game in victory. So as we see Dwayne Haskins, I'm like, I'm a former player and I have connections, as we all do. I had to reach out to the homies and say, what is going on here? Like, in your first opportunity of success as a top pick, you're supposed to be there basking in glory with the boys, with the team, on the field. Take a knee. It feels good. But Case Keenum had to do that because Dwayne Haskins was caught up in the fame. You know, my coach used to always say, don't come to practice on a red carpet, which basically meant don't get Hollywood on me, big dog. I need you to always come here and put in that work. So I had to find out about Dwayne Haskins. And the thing that was interesting is he's back home. He's where he's from. And that is a tricky situation. I don't want to go terrible because I almost did it playing in San Diego from LA, but it is a hard one to deal with. And then we had on April 10th of 2020, the Urban Meyer on SFY, our show, talking about Dwayne Haskins. Listen to this.
What concerns about Dwayne wasn't so much maturity as the fact of lack of experience. He had the best quarterback year in the history of Ohio State, one of the best years in college football history for a quarterback. However, it was 1 year. And to think he's ready to go lead a franchise immediately, you know, the NFL is such a different game, such a fast game. It's everybody's all-star.
You don't get it. Hey, man, Urban Meyer says it, I mean, almost in prediction, and then it comes to this point of realization. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And Dwayne Haskins in Washington, that impression is in stone. He has to move on.
Yeah, my reaction is very simple. He's a kid in a grown man's body. Like, oftentimes we be on the couch watching athletes. We assume all these athletes are grown, mature, leading lives as necessarily upstanding citizens. Nah, like, some of them just kids. They just good at sports. Dwayne Haskins, as far as his maturation thus far, that's what it is. Marcellus, when you showed me that picture of Dwayne Haskins taking a picture with a fan after a game, or there was a report earlier this season, he was like celebrating or smiling in the locker room after a loss. I'm like, yo, I've only experienced that one time. In 2010, played the national championship. Texas, we go play Alabama. We take a L. Lost like 37-24. We in the locker room devastated. But one dude who was a backup, he got to play in that game, so he's all smiling. He out there, hey, man, but I had a couple great blocks. Bro, we lost. Some people just don't get in a team sport, it's about the team. When I think about it, I'm just like, Dwayne Haskins hasn't figured it out yet. But Urban Meyer hit the nail on the head. Think about Dwayne Haskins. Statistically, a crazy season. 50 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's why he was drafted in the first round, top 15 overall pick. But realistically, like, he's never had to lead men over the duration of time. He's never really had to lead men through the ups and the downs of the NFL. He's never really had to deal with managing success, with managing failure. So when I think of Dwayne Haskins, that's all it is. He a kid in a grown man's body thus far.
Yeah, and Urban Meyer, he said it the nice way when he didn't want to talk about saying he doesn't have the maturity. He says he lacks experience. Well, lacking experience is the lack of maturity. So it's the same thing.
Basically.
And when I look at this team, and you look at Ron Rivera, you look at what he had to endure this season, overcoming cancer. He had to make sure that he was taking care of himself, but he put the team first in almost every single area, even while he was enduring that. And now he's back and he's coaching that team at full capacity, or to his fullest capacity. Then you look at Alex Smith, what he had to overcome. Comeback player of the year, all this stuff that is in front of him, guys who have done it the right way, a head coach and a guy that's in your unit room, that literally is at your disposal every single moment that you're playing that position. And then you go out and do this. Yes, his time, I believe, in Washington is done. He's a very talented individual. I'm not going to be as hard on him as I would if he were older, because he is a young man. He is going through those steps of maturity. There's only one way to become mature, and that's to gain experience through making some idiotic and some not so smart decisions. And so this was one of them, and he's going to grow from it. And the one thing that I do like is him acknowledging it. And many people will say, well, he read something that his PR team put together. Well, when you know the type of immaturity that you're dealing with, or the lack of experience you're dealing with, you want to make sure he gets it right. He understands what he's done, and he will understand it even on a greater scale as his career progresses.
Yeah, I like that point right there, Greg, that he just read something that his PR team wrote. Well, let me just tell you from the inside, sometimes they write it and the players don't even read it. They don't give a damn. Like, there are people out there so flippant, they're like, well. I mean, we were just talking about a story recently where you can see it. Even DeAndre Hopkins was talking to the Arizona media, and he was like, yo, y'all, we were talking about how I practice and stuff. And it was just like, basically, watch me in the games and how I perform. Like, you can't always measure the maturity based on just what you're going through in moments like this, because I was an immature player. I think we all have a moment or two. I had 415s in the back of a Hummer convertible. Just ignorance, right? But that ain't the most ignorant thing. The most ignorant thing is I was going to chapel on a Saturday night at the facilities. And I was running late, already ignorant, going to chapel, and instead of just pulling up politely and quietly and just slipping into and say, sorry, I'm late, Master P, got out the car, doors open, it's my team, I'm feeling like, yeah, I'm gonna do me. That's an immature moment, and I had to live through that, and you gotta deal with those consequences. But one of the mantras I live by in the media, once I made the conversion to the media, was talk about the act, not the actor. And this is a tough one for Dwayne Haskins, because we're talking so much about the act and the actor. But you're in a place, man, where you're forcing our hand. You're 23 years young. And when we know that the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed
that's real,
into age 25 or so,
let me ask you something, Sal. Let me ask you something if I can.
I'm listening.
Because there are some times where certain actors, you can't separate the act from the actor.
I know.
Steve Urkel, he's forever Steve Urkel. Carlton, Fresh Prince, he's forever Carlton. Carrollton. Sometimes the act is done so frequently and so exotically that you can never separate the act from the actor. I'm not sure. I know you want to be optimistic and I want to be optimistic.
I do.
But I'm not so sure that Dwayne Haskins, after that third, and what do they call that third act? Typically the third and final act. After we've seen this third act, I'm just not convinced that we ever going to be able to separate them. Coming up, Jalen Hurts is leading the Eagles in a must-win game against the Cowboys Sunday. We'll tell you which team will get it done. That's next. Speak for thine yourself.
You see, welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's head to the NFC East, where the Eagles and Cowboys are in must-win mode when they play Sunday on Fox. Both teams still have a shot to win the division, with Dallas winning 2 straight games. You hear that, Acho? While Jalen Hurts is coming off a 4-touchdown performance in last week's loss. So, Acho, who will get it done this weekend, Eagles or Cowboys?
So, you know there's about to be a block full of emotion. Like in a show that's facts over feelings, this is going to be a completely feeling-based conversation. Okay. I'm going to say the Eagles. I'm going to start with a little bit of stats, a few facts, obviously. I'm going to start with Jalen Hurts. 337 total yards over his first 2 starts. Kyler Murray, and Mahomes are the only with more since week 14. Jalen Hurts has been balling. Let's also talk about the recent history. Cowboys played the Eagles what was it, about 6-7 weeks ago. Cowboys lost to the Eagles, and the Eagles played about as bad as they could play. Obviously, the Cowboys, I believe, were playing Benucci at that time, but let's say it like this.
The Nucci man?
The Nucci man. Nucci. But remember, the Eagles have increased their play at quarterback just like the Cowboys have in a game in which the Eagles, who previously played, had already beat them. The other thing I will say is Eagles got the better running back right now. Eagles got the better quarterback right now. Eagles got the better defense right now. Eagles got the better head coach. Are you really going to base the Cowboys win off them having the better receiving core when you know and you've said receivers have the least impact or influence on a game in the game of football? I can't go as far as to say because the Cowboys got the better receivers, they're going to be the better team when the Eagles are literally better at just about every meaningful position right now.
Let's go emotional then, since you want to have emotional takes and just exclude all of the facts in this situation. I love Jalen Hurts. So far, so great. I love the Cowboys because we have tried to destroy this team, and they are roaches. They won't go away. What? The Cowboys are still in position to be in the playoffs? What? I've never heard by just conversation, by media assessment, a team lowlier than the Cowboys, it seems, that still is alive. So let's talk about why they're alive. You want to talk about the quarterback play, incrementally better, but I give the nod to the Philadelphia Eagles. But why will the Cowboys get it done this weekend? Simply because the hot boys are heating up. Look at this defense right here. We know about the hot boys, but look at them now. You talk about the Eagles have the better defense right now? Are you sure? Look at those numbers right there, Acho. 20 points a game the last couple of weeks. I'm looking at the Eagles when you guys played, was that the Arizona Cardinals? Is that 33 points you gave up? Oh, what about the Green Bay Packers? 30 points? That's not what's happening in Dallas right now. Oh, you're reading the old newspapers. I understand, Acho. Let's update your take right now. This is simply about a team that's going to play greater than the sum of its parts, led by its new defensive leader, a guy you owe an apology to, DeMarcus Lawrence.
That's real.
Who is balling of late.
He's been balling.
And he needs his credit. He needs his flowers. But all that said, I think that Cowboys are forming the fist necessary to go forward.
Let me use a Marcellus Wiley take. Past success is an indicator of future success.
Great.
I finally got it. That means that past failures are an indicator future failures.
Chill.
Now, let's talk about Week 16 last year. Cowboys-Eagles, again, a must-win game. The Dallas Cowboys had the significantly more talented team. The Eagles were maligned at just about every position outside of quarterback. Zach Ertz had a punctured lung or bruised kidney. Running backs were out. Deshaun Jackson was out. Alshon Jeffrey was out. What happened in that game when the Cowboys still had Dak Prescott, probably had a better coach, had a Zeke that wasn't completely declined? I don't know. I saw what happened in that game and the Eagles won, but I'm going to hit you with the nuanced take because, again, oftentimes you go for low-hanging fruit. I can tell you've been eating fruit lately, though, because you look good. So
boy!
At least you're going for fruit and not low-hanging dessert. But oftentimes you go for low-hanging fruit. And I'm going to say this, Sal. Who's the Cowboys offensive coordinator? You remember? Right now.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. What is a current college coaching vacancy? Boise State. Where did Kellen
Should
Moore...
be University of Texas, sorry.
Where did Kellen Moore play in college? Boise State. So, there's a vacancy at Boise, and Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, played at Boise, one of the winningest coaches in college football. You gonna tell me he's not distracted? The same distraction that Jason Garrett was dealing with last year when his job was on the line. Coaching distractions for the Cowboys don't bode well for big-time matchups. All I'm gonna say, you go for low-hanging fruit, I go for high-hanging.
So in that distraction that you're trying to place on Kellen Moore, you think he's not going to the fullest of detail in the lesson plan, game plan for this week? Is that where we're going?
I'm just saying.
Are we suggesting that?
I'm just saying that somebody who is divided, a person who's divided cannot stand. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All I'm going to say is this. I would like to wager something. Since you didn't give me a gift, and I actually got you a gift, you know, don't you hear this from your family? What do we get you? You got everything you want. I want a gift. That's what I want, David. I will wager you.
Honestly, I want a Rolex.
Coming up, I give a damn about the Eagles and Cowboys like that. Coming up, Tony Dungy took a little shot at Tom Brady. What the hell? I thought you were going to say dinner or something.
I want a Rolex. You got money?
Yeah,
I have rich friends, and I want rich white elephant Christmas presents.
And I want to keep my money. And the GOAT, Tom Brady, clap back. Woo, we'll tell you how we feel about it all next. Speak for yourself. How many kids I have? You know how many kids I have?
Y'all, welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Now, Tom Brady is considered to be the GOAT, greatest of all time, but he was not on Tony Dungy's list of top 5 toughest quarterbacks to defend. Dungy named his former quarterback, Peyton Manning, plus Aaron Rodgers, Steve Young, Dan Marino, John Elway, on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay. What a name. Brady clapped back at the coach, tweeting an image of the Colts banner as the AFC finalist in 2014 when they lost to his Patriots. He added, quote, "It was nothing personal. Coach Dungy knows I love him. I was just giving him a little grief." So, Marcellus, do you like Tom Brady's clap back?
I love this clapback. It was the sickest, simplest clapback ever because the best clapbacks, you actually use their hands. Brady didn't do anything. He just said, oh, look at what y'all are hanging up and hanging on to. Oh, come on. First of all, Dungy's not the type to push back. But even if he were like as petty as I am, there's nothing you could do in this moment. It is a wrap. Tom Brady closed all doors to this conversation and did it as politely as you can while destroying another person. Tom Brady killed this one. I mean, I'm really looking actually for what the counter could be. Like, oh, Tom Brady's clapback was too far, extreme, excessive. What do you got?
I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I don't like it because it wasn't a clapback. Sal, you ever gone to a poetry event or like a spoken word event? They tell you not to clap. Exactly. Don't clap. They tell you snap.
Yeah.
This was like a snap.
Love
back.
Jones.
Like,
Shut up.
It wasn't really nothing. If you gonna go there, Tom Brady, go there. You 5-3 versus Dungy. You beat Dungy 2003 AFC Championship game to win the Super Bowl.
Facts.
You beat Dungy 2004 divisional round en route to the Super Bowl. If you gonna go there, Tom Brady, go there. What I don't get is, Sal, there's a 2014 banner of the Colts he was mocking. Tony Dungy wasn't a coach for the Colts in 2014. It's like his clap back didn't even land. And his message didn't even hit the target. Like, he was knocking Chuck Pagano. I think Pagano was the coach. Like, I don't get that one, Sal. Like, make that one make sense.
Well, all right, what do you know Tony Dungy for? It would come down to Tampa and Indy. But where did he have his grand success? In Indy. So it's like, look, I ain't gonna get you. Oh, you gone? I'm gonna rob your house. I'm gonna take everything from Interesting. And that's what I think Tom Brady's trying to do. He's trying to shoot up the house. He's like, oh, you ain't there? I'm just gonna send you this.
But don't you feel like, bro, when you scoring on your homeboys, you know, in the locker room, hey, what kind of shoes? Them shoes and so why you got them fake J's on? And then I'm scoring on you and you scoring back on me. Then all of a sudden you go clown the person like to my left or to my right. Like, no, that me and you was going back and forth, Sal. Why are you now clowning, oh boy, whatever? You weren't even in this conversation. Like, that's what it feels like to me. This was a Tony Dungy, Tom Brady conversation. AB conversation. What they say, see your way out? He went and brought somebody else in the conversation.
Yeah, but I think, one, we got to respect who Tom Brady is and what he stands for and what he represents. He can't go all the way down in the mud like we want him to because he's Tom Brady. He's TB12. He has a lot of companies and a lot of equity to respect and to represent. But you're bearing the lead. I think we're having the wrong conversation. Let's have the good conversation about how Tom Brady don't give a damn since he left New England. Like this dude dude has been on record not only saying, I'm never going back to New England. The weather sucks. He's breaking and entering in Tampa. He's getting fined by working out. Everything Tom Brady is doing is completely almost 180 of what we would have saw with him in New England. Been on Howard Stern, everything. Don't poo-poo on the freedom that Tom Brady is exercising right now and his clapback. It wasn't a bullseye to you. But to me, if I hit everything around you, what do you have left?
But don't you feel like he shouldn't even have clapped back? It's one of those things where it's like, you know Tony Dungy, he like everybody grandpa. Like, Tony Dungy don't mean nothing by nothing. It's like when you hanging out with one of your friends and, like, they accidentally insult someone, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm gonna jump down their neck. Wait, they didn't mean it. They didn't mean it. Calm down.
Okay.
That's how I feel like the situation was. Tony Dungy's not trying to insult. Even in the soundbite, he was like, hey, no disrespect to Tom Brady, one of the greatest of all time.
Okay, I'm going to butcher something, but I think you know where I'm going. Aren't you one, well, now your ass is old, but weren't you one of the 30 most influential under 30 or something like, what was it? Clean it up.
Forbes 30 under 30 list on.
Forbes 30 under 30, right? Yes, okay, and I see that, and I'm like, bam, oh. And then someone asked me what's my list, and I leave you off it knowing you. And people are like, was that smoke towards Acho or not? Tom Brady's the GOAT, greatest of all time, right? They asked Dungy, what are your greatest quarterbacks of all time? He went Elway, Rodgers, Young, Marino, Manning, Brady. That's a diss, dog.
You knew what he was doing.
Coming up, the Saints are battling for the #1 seed in the NFC. But we'll tell you if they should be on upset alert against the Vikings on Christmas Day. That's next. Speak for yourself. Dungy try to hide behind that smile. He's sneak this. Welcome back. The Saints are hosting the Vikings on Christmas Day tomorrow on Fox. New Orleans is battling for the #1 seed in the NFC, but they've lost 2 straight after winning 9 in a row. Vikings have also lost 2 straight, but are still in the hunt for a playoff spot. So, Acho Mania, should the Saints be on upset alert against the Vikings?
Absolutely not. Everybody calm down. Everybody pump the brakes. The Saints lost a game to a quarterback who they had never seen play before in an NFL start, to a quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Then they lost in the Super Bowl preview to the Kansas City Chiefs. Saints ain't got nothing to worry about.
Wow, you keep explaining these losses, but they're still occurring. Yeah, this is called muck it up season. Ask the Atlanta Falcons. Hey, we're not going anywhere. Minnesota's like, we're probably not going anywhere either. Let's muck it up. And that means all teams out there that face these type of teams, they're dangerous because they have nothing in front of them. Happy holidays out there. And be safe. Fox Bet Live is next.